On to the DBs, Marty. We got, of course, you got Kevin Winston off to the NFL, Jalen Reed off to the NFL. I see Zakai Wheatley is back, and Jalen Kimber appears to be back.
Well, Kimber's also off to the NFL. That
Okay.
was he was a late decision. He was one of the last guys to kind of make that call. But yeah, Zakai Wheatley's going to quarterback this safety room. It's pretty wild. Penn State, the way they've recruited and restocked the secondary in recent years, to where you lose KJ Winston and you lose Jalen Reed and you lose Jalen Kimber, and Cam Miller transfers out, and you're not really worried. Anthony Poindexter, the safeties coach, and Terry Smith, the cornersbacks coach. There's too few guys on the staff who are better at their jobs in terms of identifying talent that's going to fit their system, developing that talent than those two are. Which, I mean, Anthony Poindexter is a college football Hall of Fame safety from his playing days at Virginia, so probably shouldn't be a stunner that he is as good at this as he is. But yeah, so it's safety. Like I said, Zakai Wheatley is going to quarterback that room. He's another guy who last year in the playoff really started to emerge. We had heard for 2 or 3 years now how high the staff was on Wheatley, and there was 2 or 3 times during spring ball or during fall camp where he would be the turnover king, excuse me, for the defense, and it just, you didn't get to see a lot of him on the field, not because of anything he was doing wrong, but just look at the safety room in recent years, right? KJ Winston and Jalen Reed, and this room has just been very deep in recent years for Penn State. And he's a kid who, you don't see a lot of this in 2025. He bided his time, started to see an expanded role last year. This year's going to take over. I expect him to be a team captain, be the leader of that secondary. Again, played really well in the playoff. He had an interception and a forced fumble against Boise, had an interception early in the game against Notre Dame. Alongside him at safety, King Mack, you and I talked about him off air before we started. Played 1 year at Penn State, transferred to Alabama, learned the grass isn't always greener on the other side. He's back at Penn State. I expect Mack to play a lot opposite of Wheatley. And there's going to be a lot of 3 safety sets, I think. So, Dejon Lane, a true sophomore, kid who last year they tried to throw a lot of reps at after KJ Winston got hurt. And athletically, physically, he was ready. The mental game wasn't there yet. I expect Lane to make a big jump this year. I expect Lane to play a big role in the defense this year. Vabu Torre, same class as Lane, redshirt freshman, I think you could see rise up and play an expanded role at safety. And Antoine Belgrave Shorter, another guy to watch there, redshirt freshman out of Jacksonville. He's a guy I know the staff has been very high on since he's gotten on campus. Started at corner, has moved over to safety, could definitely make an impact. And then a cornerback, yeah, it's a deep, talented room. I mean, you're replacing a lot there with guys that have left, but you feel good. A.J. Harris was the best cornerback on this team last year, was very underrated and overlooked, the transfer from Georgia. If you look at PFF grades, anything like that, any advanced metric, he was one of the best cornerbacks in the Big Ten. He's back. He's going to be your shutdown guy. He's going to be your number 1 lockdown guy at corner. And then alongside him, Elliott Washington, who is now a true junior, I believe. Yeah, true junior, who has the staff's been really high on, just kind of slowly playing more and more the last 2 seasons. He's had a huge winter, had a really good close of the season last year, had a big winner. I think he starts opposite him. I think you see Zion Tracy. If that name sounds familiar, he had the pick 6 against Ohio State this past year. I think he starts as your nickel. But then even behind them, Davion Collins has played a lot of football for this team the last 2 years, might be the best pure athlete in the cornerback room. You're going to see a lot of Collins out there. You're going to see a lot of John Mitchell, who was a high school teammate of Belgrave Shorter, playing at cornerback. You're going to see potentially some of true freshman Darius Dixon step in. I know he's made a big impact in his short time on campus. And then Kenny Woseley, another Philly kid from Imhotep Charter, who came in last year ahead of what they expected. And I think, he could play if need be. So you're not going to play all those guys, obviously, but just goes to show a corner, the depth is there if you have an injury or two, to where you've got a lot of guys you feel really good about if you're Penn State. So yeah, I think the cornerback room is just going to keep humming along. Like I said, Harris, Tracy, Washington, those are probably your top 3, but you're going to see Davion Collins, going to see John Mitchell, Kenny Woseley, Darius Dixon, names to keep in mind. There's a lot of talent in that cornerback room. And it's very deep. And just Terry Smith, continues to do a tremendous job. He's the only guy left on the staff from James Franklin's original staff when he got here in 2014. Letter winner, played wide receiver at Penn State in the early 90s, was a high school coach in Pennsylvania for a long time. And I mean, Coach Terry is beloved by his players, and there are a few coaches on the staff who develop talent better than he does at cornerback.
You mentioned Cam Miller off to Rutgers, and at least nationally, what he was best known for was backpedaling and falling on his rear end and giving up the big play against Notre Dame. I think that was Bo Collins. I don't remember exactly. Anyway, no, I don't think it was. It was Jaden Greathouse.
Yeah, I was going to say it was Greenhouse. It was,
yeah.
That's a play I'll remember for quite a while, unfortunately.